All right, boys. Hope you're good. I don't know if I'm in focus. I hope I am. Because I'm using a Fuji today and it's got no flip-out screen. So, you know, it's a bit more difficult to set this puppy up, you know? I hope you're good. Welcome back to Freelance Formula, the only show on YouTube that's about filmmaking and photography, but the business part of it. Sick. Okay, so I am your host, Reuben Mowle. Thank you for having me. Thanks for clicking. If you're new to this channel, you know, I'd say subscribe. However, you might subscribe and find out you hate me. So why don't you watch the whole video, all right? And if you like it, all right, we'll cut a deal, all right? If you like it, then subscribe. But if you don't, then don't. Thanks. Excellent. Okay, so let's roll the video. So today we are talking about how much to charge for videos. Now, this is a hot topic on the scene. Hot topic. People want to know how much to charge for a day rate, how much to charge for a wedding, how much to charge for commercial gigs. Oh, this is strictly video, by the way. So this is how much to charge for video work. Okay, so if you're brand new to videography and you have not got a clue what to charge, you're like, well, you know, my previous job just paid me a salary, or my previous job was in a supermarket and I just stacked shelves and I made like, you know, £7 an hour, so I don't know what to charge. That is absolutely fine. That's what this video is for. So we're going to talk today how much you should charge for a day rate. And here's the beautiful thing. Regardless of your experience in the industry, this video will apply to you, which is pretty sick, boys. Hope you don't mind me using the microphone today. I just prefer it. I think it's, you know, it's something to do with my hands. I feel a lot less awkward. Yeah! Let's talk about day rates. First thing, all right, day rates shouldn't really exist, in my opinion. Okay, day rates are not good, all right? Because the thing is, you're not charging for your time, you're charging for your skill. So why on earth should you charge for your time? Do you think the geezer that made the Nike logo charged for his time? No, of course he didn't. He charged, you know, whatever the Nike logo's worth, which, by the way, is probably worth a pretty penny. All right? Why on earth should creative people such as yourselves who work in video do the same thing? Why on earth should we charge for our time? We should charge depending on the skill. We should also charge depending on the issue we are solving or the value we are bringing. So for example, let's talk commercial sense for a second. If you are working in a commercial scenario and you're working with a business, you are solving a £10,000 problem. All right, let's say it's a call center. They always get the same questions over and over again. And you say to them, I can make you a video that explains this really quickly. You can point your customers there and I will be able to provide that solution. How much is that going to be worth? A day rate of £350. No, you are worth a lot more than that. Okay, so you should charge depending on the scenario. Or let's say, for example, you're a wedding videographer. All right, big up the wedding videographers. Pound it, bros. Let's say you're a wedding videographer. How much should you charge? Well, how valuable is the product you're bringing? And how valuable is your time? You know, these are things you need to take into consideration when deliberating on what you should charge. So, definitely think about that. What is next on the agenda? When you are charging, it is important not to forget that you are going to be spending time in a meeting the couple, meeting the client, you know, whatever you're doing is going to take time. That should be taken into consideration with the price. Getting to the meeting takes time, doing the meeting takes time, arranging the meeting takes time, replying to emails takes time. These are things you need to consider when coming up with a price for the job. So don't forget to include that in your pricing. All right, this is a big tip. Big tip coming. Big tip. Ask the client if they've ever had video before. Now, I think this only really works with people that have, you know, commercial clients. This doesn't really work with wedding couples unless they're getting remarried, which is, you know, that is a bit awkward. Ask the client if they've ever had video work before. Let's say you're approaching a corporation, you're approaching somebody who is looking to get video incorporated into their marketing procedure, and you say, have you ever used video before? And if they say yes, winner chicken dinner, boys. What was the price point that the previous videographer charged? And number 2, top tip. Number 2, how come the relationship didn't continue with this videographer? That's important because you then don't make the same mistake they did, presuming they made a mistake, or maybe they just moved away. Who knows? Doesn't matter. And when they give you that price point, or give you an idea, basically, of what to charge them, or what they are expecting. Because if you go into a job, think, I'm going to charge £1,000 for this job, and then you say, how much was your previous videographer? And they say, we paid that puppy $4,000. And you're like, who? Well, I now charge a premium price of £3,500. So it changes. You just got to find out what they ask for. So there's a top tip. Enjoy that, boys. No wuckers. Don't forget tax when you put your price into consideration. Take 20% off, or whatever your tax bracket is. Take 20% off everything you charge for, and just immediately put that to the side. It's a healthy practice anyway, because then you'll always have more than enough left over for your tax bill. Lovely jubbly, but don't forget to include that with your price. That's a big tip. When you price stuff, all right, don't forget to add something in your contract, or something generally saying it's going to be this much extra per hour. And this is when I think, an hourly rate is fair. This is the only exception. An hourly rate after the job is complete of what it will cost them to make amendments. Now, if you say something like £150 an hour for us to stay another hour on set, or £50 an hour extra for editing, don't be afraid to make this quite a tasty figure, because basically nobody wants lots of amendments, all right? And if you encourage a client and say, well, it is going to cost you X amount for a lot of amendments, then it will kind of encourage them to get things done right the first time. Don't get me wrong, I think you should offer 1 or 2 amendments with every contract, because that's just fair. All right. If you start saying no amendments from the start and you've done a terrible job, they're going to remember you as a really bad videographer. Be fair, but be good. That's a big tip. Should you ever offer a discount? All right. 20% off Christmas discount. 15% off Valentine's Day discount. 5% off now if you book between March the 3rd and March the 7th. My answer is never, ever offer a discount. Why? Why, I hear you ask? Because it makes you look cheap, boy. It makes you look mad cheap. Nobody wants to have a cheap videographer. And if they do, you don't want to work for him. I highly suggest that you do not offer a discount under any circumstance. It's a bad idea. It makes you look mad cheap, okay? Don't do it. Just don't do it. However, you can do bulk buys, which is different. So, leading on to that, retainers. Should you offer retainers to certain clients? I think retainers are literally the dream, right? Retainers are awesome. So if you get a client that says, I want to pay you £2,000 a month in exchange for 3 videos, how long would you be willing to go for? How long is the contract going to be? Blah, blah, blah. And let's say you were really happy with that, and that was accurate to your price point. Winner, chicken dinner. I think you're onto a winner there, and I think that's a really good thing. If they do that, I would be slightly willing to offer a little bit of leeway, only slightly, with a big purchase. So let's say they wanted a whole year's worth of work. It's going to cost them £15,000. It's going to take you 3 days of the month. That is mega. That is a really good deal. Okay, that's good work. I'd be slightly inclined if they suggested that, could we have a little bit of a discount? I would suggest that you encourage that client and offer them something juicy. Maybe not a discount, but offer them additional work for free. Maybe, we'll take some pictures at each job and we'll deliver 4 images a month. Something like that. It's incredibly valuable to some clients, and they'll be more inclined to say yes. Make it a bit juicy for them. Make it a bit juicy. Should you put your prices on your website? Depends. All right. I've heard some people say yes. I've heard some people say no. My wedding website will contain prices when I finally get around to putting that puppy together. Reason being is I can't be bothered with the admin anymore. I really can't be bothered with people saying, how much is it? Me telling them that it's the price is this, and they never reply to me because it's totally out of their budget. I'd rather be upfront and tell them that the price, if they're not willing to pay that, then don't bother getting in touch. That way, when I receive an inquiry, I'm already like, okay, cool. They're already willing to pay the price. Lovely jubbly. Nice one. But at the same time, you can't make prices for everything. All right, commercial jobs are way more difficult to price up every time, and that's why I highly recommend you don't do that. I reckon do it job to job, see how much their issue is, find out what their budget is, find out what they've paid before, come up with a price. After you've come up with your tax bracket, lovely jubbly, see you next year. Nice one, cheers boys. Last point, what are other people charging in your area? All right, so if you've got mad competition, all right, you've got lots of people charging for video in your area, what should you be charging? Should it correlate with other people? Should it like match up others or make it a competitive price and slightly undercut people? Here's my approach. When I started my videography business on the Isle of Wight, which is at the bottom of Britain, and there's not a huge amount of competition here, so I was very lucky that when I started, the market was ripe for my kind of content, and it was perfect. So I moved in and we grew very quickly, and it was amazing, and so we were very lucky. However, some people aren't so lucky, but the difference being is I remember someone who offered the same thing as me. They undercut me by 50 quid or something like that, and at the time I was offering £500 for a wedding film, and they undercut me by 50 quid, and they were like, we are the most affordable. Ugh, who is that? I'm halfway through a YouTube video, so you have to forgive me. I'm still rolling. Oh, where are you going? Oh. You carry on doing what you're doing. Thanks, man. This is gonna make it to the video. Yeah. So what are others charging for their service? I can't remember. Where were we? Oh gosh. Yeah. I personally wouldn't charge the same as other people. To charge depending on what you offer, and if what you offer is more valuable, then you should be charging more. If you are a significantly better video maker than everybody else, and it takes a little bit of self-awareness and also a little bit of market research to think if other people agree with you on that one. But if you are considerably better, then you shouldn't be charging the same as everybody else. You should be charging more, and that's fair enough. But if you suck, which you might, then you should be charging a less competitive rate, because you're trying to get your foot in the door, you're trying to do things, you're trying to cut some shapes, all right? When you start building a portfolio, a good rapport with clients, then, you're entitled to charge more money. But right now, if you suck, and you might, someone needs to tell you that you suck, all right? Just ask a good friend. Ask them if you suck, 'cause it's just, you need to know. I personally would not. I think it's far wiser to cut your own shapes, okay? Don't match up what other people are doing. Look at yourself first before deciding what you should charge. All right, I think that wraps it up. I really appreciate you watching. Thank you ever so much. Now, if you got to the end of the video and you're happy with the content you've seen, and you are thinking, boy, this guy is really funny and handsome, I should subscribe. Okay, well, I encourage you to do so, and if you like the video, that's also, much appreciated. It helps me get into the YouTube algorithm. Appreciate you liking the video. Stick around. Next week, we've got more awesome content. Check out the links below. There are some of the products I use, and some of them go straight to my website. Like, I'm going to put this puppy up, the on-air sign. Lots of people asking, yo, where do I get that neon sign? It's on my website, so check it out. It's pretty lit. All right, so if you enjoyed today, like, subscribe, check out the links below. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you next week. Cheerio, boys.